Right, love that piece. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings and welcome, everyone. My name is Fahira Lumpkin Stevens, coming to you from Conyers, Georgia, and I am honored to represent the From Wish to Winning Coaching Club as a founding team member. I'm a lifelong educator, and one of the most valuable lessons I have learned is that success doesn't happen by accident. Whether we're talking about our finances, our health, our relationships, or our dreams, success requires one essential ingredient: discipline. I want to touch on that topic today because I know it's important if our goal is to go from wishing to winning. I teach that every dollar should have a job. But the truth is, before our money can work for us, we must first learn to work on ourselves. We must develop the discipline to think differently, act intentionally, and remain consistent long enough to see results. Many people have wishes, many people have dreams, many people know their why. Yet, studies consistently show that the biggest obstacle to achievement is not lack of talent, opportunity, or intelligence. It's a lack of discipline. Simply put, discipline is the bridge between wishing and winning. My favorite definition of discipline is this: discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. Listen to this. Think about this, family. Discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. When we develop discipline, we develop freedom: freedom from excuses, freedom from distractions, and freedom from limiting beliefs that keep us playing small. Aren't you tired of playing small? So today, family, I encourage you to stand guard at the door of your mind. This is where it all begins. Allow only positive and powerful thoughts to come through and take root. Block that negative chatter, the things you don't want. Don't let those creep in your mind and hang out. Feed your purpose, not your distractions. Focus on daily action, not occasional inspiration. Remember that small, consistent steps taken every day create extraordinary results over time. Let me say that again. Remember that small, consistent steps taken every day create extraordinary results over time. This is your first small act of discipline. Guard your mind, guard the thoughts that enter your mind. Do that consistently. As you continue your journey, I challenge you to begin a simple gratitude practice. Every morning and every evening, write down 10 things you're grateful for. I'm a product of the success of both of these small action steps, and I am a witness to the success they bring. But doing this simple gratitude practice of writing down 10 things every morning and 10 things every night before you go to bed, of things you are grateful for, is so powerful. Commit to it for at least 21 days and watch how your mindset, your outlook, and ultimately uh, your life begins to change. If you do it 21 days, it becomes a habit and you will continue to do it. And it will elevate your life in ways that will absolutely surprise you. This is your second small act of discipline. Take these two small action steps consistently and watch your life change in a positive direction. Brothers and sisters, you may not come from a wealthy family. And I love this. I don't come from a wealthy family. We may not come from a wealthy family, but a wealthy family can absolutely come from us. Our discipline can become their inspiration. Our loved ones, our family, our children, our parents, our nieces and nephews, aunts and uncles. Your discipline can become their inspiration. Your consistency can become their inheritance. That's huge. Remember this: from wish to winning begins with one decision. Give yourself a command and follow it. Follow through. Now it's my pleasure to introduce another valued member of our team. This remarkable woman is an exceptional educator whose presence elevates every space she enters. She embodies purpose, resilience, and sincerity. I like to present to some and introduce to others Lajeen Jazzy Muhammad. Get away, lady.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you, Tahira. Okay, so again, I'm Jazzy. Just call me Jazzy. My friends call me Jazzy. Um, I want to tell you why. Why join Wish to Winning? And that is because, well, we've been talking about paradigms, right? And that's that piece mm, where it takes, something happened to you, when we're growing up, we're babies and stuff, and as we grow, we have experiences. Now, some of these experiences trigger a reaction, a strong reaction from us, and we'll make up a story around that. Now, that story to us is absolutely the truth. Okay, that is what happened to us. Okay, but that's just that point of view that you had at that moment. And from that mindset that you were, because you're young, and you have a young mind thinking around what happened, because and you made this story, and then you keep that story. Now that story is just there to protect you. It's, we want to make sure that you are absolutely protected at all time, and it's called a paradigm, and we get stuck there. And as we grow, we get another one and another one and another one. Okay, so this is our behavior now from those stories that we made up about who we are and how we react to what happens next. Okay, so here at Wish to Winning, we look at those paradigms. We actually go in and analyze, look at what happened, and go back and say, is there another way I could have looked at that? Knowing more that we're older now and have a broader understanding. And if we just let go of the story, what really happened? So the paradigms are not stuck. I mean, you can't get stuck, but um, they're not concrete. You can change them. Now, it is not easy to change your paradigms, but it can be done. Okay, and so here at Wish to Winning is we're changing our paradigms, and we're also changing our self-concepts, who we are, who we plan on being, who we know within our very soul that we are, even if it doesn't show up right now. We know whose we are, right? Well, what is keeping me from showing up the way that I desire to show up? Those paradigms. So, um, again, this is why we want to do Wish to Winning. And that's because in trying to get past those paradigms, which are not easy, we will go back and visit some of those things that got us stuck in the first place, and we may get stuck again. But because we're in this class, our program, we are directed. We can help, they will help us get out. Oh, remember where you are. Remember what you're doing. Remember, because we have assignments, right? Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm doing this because you know, when you get unstuck, 'cause it usually happens when you get unstuck, you remember, oh, dang, I was here 3 years ago in this very space trying to do this very thing. And so now we can move faster and have a better understanding of why we were stuck so that we can keep moving and become that which you knew we were in the first place. Okay? So I'm very, very, very grateful because I saw myself getting stuck again. And I'm like, oh my God, um, let me get back to my class. Let me make sure that I get back into my wish to winning assignments because I wasn't doing anything. And I'm like, but that's one of those paradigms. And sometimes one paradigm will hit up against another paradigm, and then you're like, oh my God. So I am very grateful for this opportunity to be in Wish to Winning so I can be the amazing goddess that I know I am. And so I want to introduce to you another incredible member of Wish to Winning. And he has this mind that just, he can hold on to a thought again and again and again. And he can repeat it word for word. And amazing gentleman, Brother Keith Muhammad.
Thank you, Jazzy. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, my name is Keith Hollins Muhammad. I'm an entrepreneur, a martial scientist, and
Camera
I'm
on, Keith. I'm sorry.
excuse me. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
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 sir.
we hear
Loud
you.
and clear.
Okay, my bad. I'm an entrepreneur, a martial scientist, and I'm a brother first. Um, I want to come before you today and talk to you about, some things in life that I've learned. I want to talk to you about value, and it's all ends up coming to money and how we perceive money. I want to talk to you about attraction and the science, okay, of getting rich. Because at my age, I just learned it. And I know most people, we hear certain cliches like, I'm not chasing the bag, and you chasing the bag. And it becomes like a cliche because a lot of people like that. Oh, that sounds dope or whatever it is. But um, attraction, you know, you can attract anything that you want to attract in life. It requires the application of an exact science and certainty. Anyone willing to put in the work can achieve it. The importance of intentionally setting goals, goal setting, but being intentional. What makes a good goal? It has to excite you, challenge you, and inspire you. And it should move you to closing the gap between doing and knowing. We say here that only doing it gets it done. That's the reality. And how fast do you make a decision? Does it take you a long time to make the decision? How fast or how slow does it make you to change? Well, if you make decisions quick and you're slow to change, that's the path you want to be on. You don't want to be fickle. So then let's jump to value. People say, I want to make a lot of money. You know, the God, when you pray for success, He doesn't bless us with money, He blesses us with the ideas. And when you can come up with ideas that make you or help you to reach something that where you create value and other people can see value in it, they don't care how much it costs, they see the value in it and then they move toward that thing. However, sometimes what people do, and they know this, but they still put their price way up, and you got to make a decision. Well, it's valuable, but it's not that valuable to me. And then you look for other things that are within your value radar. So I thought that was, you know, to me, it made a lot of sense because when you start looking at the science of getting rich, and this right here is what helped me understand why many of us, we're just really caught in how we've been taught and what school was all about and where we go. And we stay there generation after generation after generation trying to get rich, but that's not how you get rich. The mind is something else. Is really uh, phenomenal because many of us, we only 1% of the world's population thinks. It's gonna mess y'all up. And 3% think they think, and 95% don't think at all. I got to speed this up because I want to take a lot of time, but I'm coming to my conclusion. What I want to say is that in the science of getting rich, your subconscious mind is the workhorse, but your subconscious mind executes. It doesn't reject, it only accepts. And when you feed it lack and your thoughts are, you know, not on wealth, then your subconscious mind says basically, yeah, you're right. Man, I ain't nothing. I ain't gonna never be nothing. Man, I always make mistakes. I always mess up. Well, your subconscious mind is gonna make sure that you mess up, but feed it positive thoughts. I'm rich. I'm always moving, toward my goals. And I'm always successful. See, those type of things, your subconscious mind hears it, and then it moves on. So that's what I wanted to drop. And lastly, how did you win in the game of money? How do you win at the game of money? Well, you turn earned income into passive residual income as fast as you can. Money at work is money in motion, and money loves speed. Money has to move. You can't just be happy because you got it in the bank. It's sitting, and somebody else is letting it move for them, not you. That's where the banks work. But anyway, I want to go ahead and leave it there and put a pin in. I want to introduce someone. Okay. It's my pleasure to introduce a brother that I've come to admire because of his resilience and his efforts and his work to improve himself. Man, he got a story. Maybe one day he'll open it up, but it blew me away. He never was a dumb brother, but he made the mistakes that you want to hear that you made with your daddy. And daddies back in the day, they didn't play; they ran their household. And anyway. Um, Oh my goodness, I didn't know I was muted. I'm introducing Brother Eric Toure Muhammad. Okay. It's my pleasure to bring him on board. Because this brother, he definitely wants for himself and wants for others what he wants for himself. And he's diligent all the time in being in front of the room. The brother has never ever said something and didn't be found not doing it. He's always done it, but he's done it to the max. And many of us that know him know that this brother is an excellent example. So I don't want to belabor the moment. Brother Eric Toure Muhammad, known as the Wealth Minister, come on out here, sir.
Ready for Revolution. Thank you, Brother Keith. It had nothing to do with you, it has everything to do with my equipment. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm having some challenges here, folks, where you might see the screen jumping every now and again. And I do apologize for that. I beat this device up so bad that now it doesn't want to respond. It's sort of rebellious. But we're going to do the best we can with what we have. I do want to thank Sister Sahira, Sister Jazzy, and of course, Brother Keith for what they shared and um, draw from what they said because there's an evaluated experience that they've communicated. And that experience allows us to grow when we're able to see ourselves in it, when we're able to see ourselves in what it is that we do. And so, again, I do want to thank them for the bestowing the honor on us by making their presence felt. And I want to move forward. If I can get these screens to move with me, I want to move forward into what we have to share. And again, We have some challenges here, so please forgive as we get through it. All right. So if you can see my screen, I want to talk to us about cash flow mastery. Cash flow mastery. Somebody's unmuted there. Cash flow mastery. Okay. Now, what that means, Keith, is your line. You got to mute. The cash flow mastery, how to think in systems, not salaries. Now, this, folks, serves as a wealth building blueprint. And I'm going to move through these because the promise that we make to you here is to offer you an additional multiple source of income. We believe wholeheartedly in multiple sources of income. We believe wholeheartedly that it should not be rooted in salaries, in jobs, in owned businesses. However, when you think in systems and not salaries, you can develop what's known as cash flow mastery. Now, we're going to talk about some of these traps, these snares, the paycheck trap, systems versus salaries, ownership mindset, cash flow, leverage, long-term wealth, and action plan. That's on our agenda. Let's talk to you about the paycheck trap. See, most people trade time for money. You hear that a lot in different circles, but when your income stops when work stops. You see, your income will stop when your work stops. If you're clocking in for employment, just want to show you the finite aspects of it, not knocking or condemning. When you clock in, you begin to earn against your time. When you clock out, the earning stops. Income stops when work stops, but you breathe all the way through. You breathe, your heart beats, the human faculties, you are alive prior to getting to work, during work, and then getting off of work. So what happens to the compensatory side of living? See, many of us merely exist, but to build a life requires resource. It requires something you can fall back on, and it requires ownership and control. All right. Most people trade time for money. Income stops when work stops. Financial freedom requires a different model. And you're talking about a wealth mindset shift. Okay. Not just a mindset, but a mind shift. We have to stop chasing incomes. We have to start building systems. We have to create value that continues working long after we're done. Some of us make so much money while we sleep that we'll never have enough time awake to spend it. And that's just a straight up fact. How is that possible? Systems. A system is an acronym as well. It stands for save yourself stress, time, energy, and money. Save yourself stress, time, energy, money. Now, how that happens is our ability to what we call in the God body, do the knowledge. Our ability to uh, respect the awareness that we're coming into, and then moving on such awareness. Taking action. We build the systems that create value and continue working for us. So look at a salary. That's an active income. But a system has recurring value creation. Systems can scale beyond your time. When we talk about multiple sources of income from which to winning, when we teach these principles, it's about having multiple sources over your time. It minimizes the amount of time you spend in a thing and allow the cash flow to provide. Time, folks, is your greatest asset. But time is finite. Money can be replaced. Time can't. So we need to position ourselves to invest in time building assets and move from worker to builder. See, employees create complete tasks, but builders, we create processes. Owners develop assets. This is the shift that we have to make. We have to go from employee builder to owners. In ownership thinking, we accept the responsibility. We don't try to pass the buck on nobody else. If it has to be, it begins with me. However, you also have to own it. Whatever failures that come along with it, whatever shortcomings that are part of it, whatever challenges you may have, own them. They're yours. Pointing fingers elsewhere won't do a darn thing in producing resolve. We have to own what we're about. We have to have a tremendous belief fueled by faith, and we have to take action and own every step that we take. Win, lose, or draw, accept responsibility, solve problems, focus on long term value. Value creation is essential. Income follows value. I know many of us think we're successful when we earn a lot of money. No, no. You can't earn a lot of money until you're successful. We serve more people, we solve bigger problems. I'll give you an example. Just this conversation alone, developing an annual income every month. I mean, think about this. Many of you earn what you may consider decent incomes because maybe you never earned that much in a year. It could be 200,000, it could be 500,000, it could be a million. But the only reason you earn a million a year, 500,000 a year, 250,000 a year is because you have not embraced the principles that allow you to earn it every month. Think about that. You're in a world of abundance. What idea, as Brother Keith talked about, what idea do you have that the world needs? Ponder that. What idea do you have that the world needs? I know, and we know, and from which to winning, that the world does not have a money problem. The world has a cash flow problem. So when you solve the cash flow problem, that's the bigger problem, and the world will embrace you and reward you for it. Zig Ziglar, one of the greatest salesmen who ever done it, one of the greatest mentors to many who had ever done it, he said that when you help others get what they want, you get what you want. Well, the barometer here is, or the way here rather, is to understand that what you're passionate about, what business you want to develop, does not mean a hill of beans if it's not what the demographic wants, what the community wants. You might be a furniture maker, but you're in an environment that doesn't need the service. Well, how far can that business go? You see, what idea do you have that the world can embrace? And embracing an income that operates independent of government, independent of politics, independent of excuse me, health and circumstances, independent of you having to be actively involved like we are with our jobs. When you're able to develop the idea that allows people to take charge of their lives and get things as money as an issue out of the way, then you're serving more people. Because we're here to tell you that the good majority of the world thinks they have a money problem and do not. Money is a part of the abundance. It's here. It changes forms, right? We're in an age of new money, new technology, and if we don't embrace them, we're either victims of them, casualties of them, or we're victors or victorious in them because we stepped in front of the movement of the money, stepped in front of the movement of the technology. The greater value you bring to the marketplace, the greater the solution you represent. And the bigger the solution, the greater the reward. Now, let me help you understand when we talk about cash flow. Cash flow is money moving continuously. How often, folks? Continuously. Recurring revenue increases stability. That's why you want cash flow. Systems create predictable cash flows. Now, I want you to understand when you have a system, you have something that's inevitable and you have something that is predictable. Inevitable and predictable. That's what you have when you have a system feeding the income. See, multiple income streams, or we like to call them multiple sources of income, should become your primary career. That means business, investments, digital products, royalties, consulting. These are just some terms that we throw out to help you understand that there's more involved, but doable practically as it relates to building wealth. Now, diversification in this sense makes a lot of sense. Don't rely on one paycheck. You see how most of society is struggling now. You know, in the United States, where we're broadcasting from today, the majority of the people, I think it's 86.5 or 85.6% of the residing American public could have avoided foreclosure or the potential of foreclosures on their homes if they just had an additional $500 beyond their paycheck. The paycheck generally is already spoken for before you get it. In fact, there's studies out now, Forbes and others, that tell you in order to retire, you need at least 2.8 to $3 million in retirement to survive your retirement years. You're dealing in a world of hyperinflation. You're dealing in a world where you have uh, uh, a society that's built on debt, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then there's a knock at your door, and Peter and Paul are both there at the same time with their hand out asking for their money. That's the shape that society is in. There's no overcoming the inflation. So, what it is that we have to do ourselves is take full control and ownership of those things that we can and not leave them tied to the wheels, the hamster wheel of society. Don't rely on one paycheck. Build complementary sources and streams of income. Increase your resilience to do that. It will provide you leverage. And there are tools for leveraging yourselves out here. We talked about technology just a moment ago. Automation, right? Pairing in teams and content and processes. These are leveraging tools and they're all on our side. And when it comes down to technology, you want to use it as the multiplier. It automates repetitive work. It reaches global audiences. It scales without portional effort. And it allows you to compound your growth. Compounding growth here, I'm not talking in banking terms. I'm talking about your relationship building. I'm talking about how your small actions repeated consistently build on top of each other. Skill sets build on top of each other. Investments build on top of each other. Businesses mature over time. As a result, the revenue builds on top of each other. So we need a mindset that doesn't speak to short-term thinking. We don't need the dangling carrot and just grab it because it's shiny in front of us as low-hanging fruit. We need to grow, scale toward long-term thinking. Think in years, not weeks. Build assets before liabilities. And the number one albatross or that number one thing that's against our abilities, we don't delay the gratification. We want it now without putting in the sweat. We want it now because our appetite is getting the better of us. We want it now because in this paradigm, in our habitual behaviors, we're used to instant gratification and nothing builds out. You get uh, a little something extra to your paycheck. Let's say it's a raise. And we will, instead of taking that raise and putting it aside and maintaining ourselves off of what we had become used to, we decide to spend everything because there's no delay in the gratification. There's no goal setting here. You have to design your financial future. Identify one scalable opportunity. We're going to show you one here today. Document a repeatable process. We're going to show you one today. And measure results weekly. I have a 30-day action plan that many of our clients, we have a 30-day action plan that many of our clients embrace. And that's auditing your income. What is your lifestyle cost? What does it require for you to manage your household on a month-to-month basis? And then when you find that thing that manages it, now find that system that will support that income. And then set it in automation where you continue to build that income as well as evaluate and improve coming into the next 30 days. What you're talking about are systems that outperform salaries, ownership, which creates opportunity, leveraging multiplies efforts, and consistency builds wealth. All right. So now that we understand that, the ultimate goal here is to think bigger, build smarter, create value continuously. Now, I know I ran through that, but this is why we have the power of YouTube. You can go to the YouTube and do a playback of it. But I want you to look at an opportunity that we have, another source of income, and it's known as tokenization. I want to introduce you to the bank token. This is what's known as a RWA, or real world asset, in our community known as bankers, the bank of us. See, with this bank token, the digital asset that allows you to grow alongside bankers is a participation in the growth of one of the fintech and RWA ecosystems with the highest global expansion potential. This is an old slide, meaning 3 days ago, the current value of the token on the market, 20 cents per token. Now it's 21 cents per token. And their evaluation that are scheduled month to month, but I'm going to help you to understand that when we talk about this age of technology, it's a platform age, it's a cyber age. It's no longer just about using platforms. It's about growing with them. See, bank transforms the community into an active part of the ecosystem. You're not simply buying a token. You're participating in the ecosystem's growth. You're building a global network. You're generating expansion-based income and accessing ecosystem benefits. The future belongs to communities that participate. Now, how does this happen here? Let me give you the landscape. RWA stands for real world assets. Okay. And real world assets represents the resources of an entity. Bankers represents the tokenization of the entire Bankers ecosystem. 300 million tokens represents 100% of the company. Every token you own, you are co-owner in the company. They're based on the blockchain, Binance Smart Chain to be exact, and the digital asset is backed by the real ecosystem. We have so many releases of product and services inside of bankers that each one feeds the other. We began with a card, a decentralized debit card, and that debit card served as a welcome mat to our entire ecosystem. This is not speculative cryptocurrency. I don't want you confusing this with things you've done in the past. We're not talking coins. We're talking about shares in a company. This is not a speculative cryptocurrency. It is digital ownership over a real ecosystem. Okay. Now, think about this. We started with the card, and I can't get my screen to work well. And now we have other elements that we're releasing progressively. We have Mint, the Mint marketplace. We have paid by bankers, leveraged by bankers, select by bankers. And the more adoption strengthens the bank ecosystem. Every new product strengthens the ecosystem. Every new user increases activity. Every new expansion increases the value of the system. Now, I want to show you some early charting so that you're clear on how this worked. Back in 2024, pre-sale was launched, and the token was valued at 10 cents. Now it's all undervalued because the real world asset, a real world value currently is 87 cents per token. It was released under that so you can feel the benefit of income right away and the growth of it. Okay. Started at 10 cents in 2024. Then it moved on to 13 cents. Then up to 15 cents. When May of 26 came about, it was at 15 cents per token. Now, in June, it hit 20 cents and it's still showing in the back office at 20 cents, but the valuation has just occurred and it's taken the token up to 21 cents. And then you see some projections of its possibilities as we continue to ramp up and release the other elements of the ecosystem. Okay. The strongest growth happens before mass adoption, folks. Today, the company corporate just took off for an event that we have in Cancun. On July 12th will be 2 weeks in South Africa. First in Johannesburg, then in Durban. I had my reverse. First in Durban, then Johannesburg, right? And then as we touch these different countries and regions, September of this year, the end of September, will be in Atlanta, Georgia, with the largest of events, where it's no longer just the road show and the pit stops, even though those are major stops, folks. We have a community of over 160,000 members. We're going to do a full-scale event in September, at the end of September, in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. The strongest growth happens before mass adoption. You have ways that you can earn. You can do a compensation structure where you can participate and you can earn 10 levels deep in a unilevel compensation. You also have the ability and the power, which is the greatest of them, is staking the token. See, as the ecosystem grows, your tokens can grow too. Pardon me. Staking your bank is more than holding. Bank is the token, folks. Staking your bank is more than holding. It's participating in the growth of a real ecosystem designed to generate long-term value. You stake a token, you can stake as little as one token and as many as you like. 1.25% monthly is generated on top of the value of the token, and 3.75% quarterly. And you can continue long-term holding, long-term staking. You never have to remove it to restake. You can just allow it to stake and just pull your profit out if you like. Stake, earn, grow. Be part of the real growth. The stronger the ecosystem, naturally, the greater your potential. Passive income generation, long-term holding incentive, active ecosystem, and greater ecosystem stability. That's availed to you in this world known as bankers. Now, the bankers token, as you can see on the screen, you might even want to take a screenshot. It shows you all that's in play, and we'll show you a little more tomorrow because come tomorrow on this very same platform at 9 a.m., we'll do a full scale with equipment working presentation along with introducing some of the product line. Okay, and showing you how you can get started. That's tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern United States time zone on our Financial Freedom Friday on the Believers Huddle. Okay. The clear paths of sustainable impact. You can see the phases there. You might want to take a screenshot, but again, we're going to go live and go into the back office with you tomorrow. Together, we can build the future of finance. Bank, building the future of finance. The journey has just begun, and we're encouraging everybody to join that journey to enjoy that level of what will soon be defined as legacy wealth. That's, for the most part, what we wanted to share with you. Still can't get my screen to work. Bear with me here. Okay, that's pretty much what we want to share with you today, barring the complications we had naturally of the our devices, our equipment. But I do want to thank you for the time that you've afforded us. And I'm going to ask if our leaders or if anyone has anything they'd like to add, you can simply raise your hand. The floor will be open. I'm going to stop the share on YouTube